to the Wicked Webs We Weave podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Mckern. Join us weekly for tales of cursed media, haunted web series, ARGs, creepypastas, unfiction, and all things horror. Sit back, dim the lights, and welcome to the Wicked Webs We Weave. Welcome to Washington D.C, home of the Decatur House, constructed in 1818 for naval hero Stephen Decatur and his wife. The Decatur House is one of the oldest houses left in Washington, D.C. Today it is a museum showcasing African American history in an effort to distract tourists from the true nature of this house's grim past. Many visitors to the Decatur House often complain of severe stomach pains during and after their tour. Their abdominal muscles will cramp up, causing sharp jolts, pain that have been so traumatic that the person will need to grab hold of nearby furniture so they do not collapse on the floor. In the most extreme of cases, these unfortunate tourists must be rushed to the bathroom for vomiting, or even worse, they will discover signs of internal bleeding for several days after the visit to the Decatur House. They'll ask themselves, am I coming down with a virus? Have I been food poisoned? And the doctors will be unable to provide adequate explanation. The unexplained stomach pains experienced is a direct result of paranormal ghostly presence that the late Stephen Decatur holds over the property. Stephen Decatur died in his bedroom while suffering excruciating pain from being shot in his abdomen during a duel with Commodore James Barron. Why would two U.S. naval leaders engage in a deadly duel? Commodore Barron wanted Mr. Decatur dead after he stripped Barron of his command as a result of a naval incident in 1807. James Barron commanded the USS Chesapeake, and when it was attacked by the British aboard the HMS Leopold, Barron hardily put up a fight and then surrendered. The British, after deserters, tracked down on the ship and tried four sailors on the Chesapeake, hanging one and sentencing the others to brutal punishment. The result was embarrassing for a then very young United States. And as a result of the cowardice and poor leadership, Barron was stripped of duty for 5 years. For it was Stephen Decatur that sat on the jury in court-martial that confided and convicted the Commodore. Many years passed, and the Commodore would not see Mr. Decatur for many of years. But inside Commodore Barron, the rage built, the bitterness, the hate, till finally in 1820, after years of the torment in a madman's mind, the Commodore traced down Decatur and challenged him to a duel. Despite Stephen Decatur being in the right, James Barron shot his enemy right through the gut, an abdomen wound Decatur was then rushed to his home, where doctors tried in vain to save the naval hero. Even after 3 attempts at sewing the wound, Decatur bled soaked through all 3 sets of sheets in the house. And it is said that Decatur shouted out, "I did not know that only no man could suffer such pain. I did not know that only any man could suffer such pain. I did not know that any man could suffer such pain." It finally became too much to bear, and Commodore Stephen Decatur succumbed to his wounds, sending his wife into uncontrollable hysterics, weeping until she had to be seated and sedated. She never fully recovered from the loss of her husband. Decatur's ghost appeared almost immediately after his death. He is often seen gazing out the upstairs window, watching the street as if anticipating the arrival of Bermond, the Commodore himself. Stephen Decatur, the apparition, appears so often, in fact, that the windows were eventually walled up. Others still catch a glimpse of him in the early hours, leaving through the back door with pistols in hand. Perhaps Decatur must relive that duel over and over for eternity. Perhaps each time he hopes he will prevail, restore his honor, and depart. One can hope that, at least in death, the excruciating pain that he felt has dissipated. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Wicked Webs We Weave podcast. I'm Ryan Mckern. Have a great night, and we will see you next time.